Palmer with your news briefing. 4 people have been killed and 9 others injured after 2 helicopters crashed on Queensland's Gold Coast this afternoon. As our reporter Tara Cassidy explains, the helicopters were from a nearby theme park.
Emergency services were called to the scene at Main Beach near SeaWorld to report 2 helicopters collided over a broadwater, one managing to land safely, the other crashing into sand and shallow water with people inside. At least one of the helicopters was from SeaWorld, which conducts tours in the area. It's understood the crashed helicopter's pilot and 3 passengers were killed, while 3 more were rushed to hospital in critical conditions. A total of 13 people were involved and assessed at the scene.
The Treasurer is defending the federal government's decision to bring back mandatory testing for incoming arrivals from China. From Thursday, travellers will have to show a negative test to enter Australia as a new wave sweeps across China. Jim Chalmers says the move strikes the right balance.
This is the right decision for Australia. It's a sensible outcome. It recognises the COVID wave in China is a substantial one, and it acts in a way which is consistent with a lot of other countries around the world.
And a jockey is being charged following a fall during a race at the Perth Cup. Racehorse Chili is Hot died after the incident during the Group 2 event yesterday at Ascot Racecourse. Jockey Joseph Azzopardi has been charged with careless riding and has had his riding licence suspended for 6 weeks.
Beyond Blue is here to help you achieve your best possible mental health. For more information, advice and support, visit beyondblue.org.au today.
In sport, South Africa is confident of going out on a high when they face the Aussies in the 3rd and final test at the SCG. All-rounder Marco Jansen admits losing the series hurts, but he's confident a change in attitude will go a long way when play commences on Wednesday.
Making that mental shift and deciding and making a conscious decision to say that, okay, I'm going to put my hand up here and I'm going to do whatever it takes to influence the team in a good way to get my team over the line here.
Selling the family home, Miller, Juan and John put you first.
This is SAFM weather.
Partly cloudy conditions this afternoon, dropping down to 12 degrees overnight, cloudy and 19 the top temp tomorrow. And what more news? The briefing is still on deck over summer. A deep dive on the news that matters each morning on the LISTNR app.
Now stocking naked
Hello, Alicia McFarland with your news briefing. Safe Work Australia has been tasked to investigate what regulations are needed for workplaces which handle silica products. The state and territories have agreed today to launch a review amid concerns about the potential health impacts like silicosis. Employment Minister Tony Burke says the possibility of bans of the product will also be looked at.
If there were to be a prohibition, where that line would be drawn, and then to also scope out how you can have a nationally consistent licensing system for whatever remains as being viewed as safe to be on the market.
Changes to superannuation are on the way, with tax rates for the super rich to double from July 1, 2025. The change will impact those with more than $3 million in their accounts. PM Anthony Albanese says the reform will make the system more sustainable.
The savings that are made from the reduction in these tax breaks will contribute $900 million to the bottom line over the forward estimates, and some $2 billion when it is operating on a full year period.
A critical incident investigation continues after a man was fatally shot by police in Sydney overnight. The 32-year-old allegedly attacked a cleaner at a train station with a knife before arriving at the local police station. It's then alleged he tried to attack 2 officers before being shot. Ed Sheeran has smashed an Aussie concert ticket record, selling more than 200,000 seats over 2 nights at the MCG.
After this, there is no turning back. You sip the red can, the story ends. You sip the black can, you enter dreamland. And I show you just how good the truth can taste. Max Taste Challenge.
sport, the Bulldogs head into round one without Ryan Gardner. He's gone under the knife today to fix up his injured elbow. And Mitch Starc and Cameron Green have both declared themselves fit for tomorrow's third test against India as the Aussies look to salvage the series. Former captain Mark Taylor says whether another fast bowler or spinner joins them will depend on conditions.
I think that's probably the way they're going to go, and whether they'll pick a third seamer, whether Boland will play or they'll pick Kuhneman again, I'm not really sure. That'll probably depend a little bit on the pitch.
Selling the family home, Miller, Juan and John put you first.
This is SAFM weather.
19 and cloudy for the rest of the day across the Limestone coast. Tomorrow, 21 and 21 and cloudy on Thursday. One more local news, get free breaking news about our community. Download the LISTNR app, search for the Limestone coast and add to your favourites now.
With your news briefing. Our country's rental crisis won't be improving anytime soon, according to a new report by the Reserve Bank. It predicts skyrocketing prices and low vacancy rates will stick around for years, with sluggish home construction largely to blame. Indigenous Australians Minister Linda Burney says opposition leader Peter Dutton has run out of excuses in his hesitation on a voice to Parliament. He's calling for legal advice surrounding the voice to be released. Ms Burney says it's time for bipartisan support.
This is about Australians. This is not about politicians.
Police have cracked down on a criminal syndicate accused of laundering $1.7 million in stolen cash. 4 people from Brisbane, Adelaide and Melbourne have been charged after allegedly setting up more than 80 bank accounts with stolen identities to transfer money out of Australia. Queensland Police have made more than 750 arrests in just 3 weeks as part of an ongoing patrol operation to address youth crime. Acting Deputy Commissioner for Regional Operations Mark Wheeler says Victor Unison will continue until mid-year.
The point of this operation is not to arrest everyone we come across, it's actually to engage with people.
And the TGA has proposed banning all flavoured vapes to clamp down on the growing addiction young people face and a vaping black market, with some doctors suggesting it's a public health emergency.
After this, there is no turning back. You sip the red can, the story ends. You sip the black can, you enter dreamland. And I show you just how good the truth can taste. Take the Pepsi Max Taste Challenge.
A lack of progress in his behavioural training has seen Taron Thomas stood down indefinitely. North Melbourne says this decision was made before new allegations surfaced. Having overcome a hamstring injury, the Lions welcome the return of Dane Zorko tonight as they host the Demons. And Jason Day needs only a win or a draw tomorrow to reach the last 16 of the World Golf Championship in Texas after victory this morning.
Today was a little bit scrappy, but coming off yesterday's round, felt pretty good about my game.
On Fox Sports there.
Selling the family home, Miller, Juan and John put you first.
This is SAFM weather.
21 and partly cloudy for the rest of the day across Mount Gambier. Tomorrow, cloudy and 20 on Sunday. The 2023 footy season is here. Stream your favourite games live from anywhere. Footy lives on LISTNR. Download now and listen for free.
Dirty Blue Denim Specialist. Size and brands to you. All over
Hi, it's Dan Flake here with the latest. The delegation representing Australia at the coronation of King Charles has been revealed. Football star Sam Kerr's been named as our flag bearer. Legendary muso Nick Cave and comedian and TV presenter Adam Hills are some of the other 14 who've been selected. They'll join the PM when the big event plays out next month. A $2.2 billion Medicare overhaul's been announced off the back of today's National Cabinet meeting. My Medicare will allow patients who regularly visit their GP to register for a new blended payment model. And PM Anthony Albanese says it'll also help take the pressure off our hospitals by getting to the core of the recurring visits to the emergency room.
Make sure there's a registration there so that we can reach out. What are the issues that are actually driving those regular presentations? It might be a mental health issue, it might be alcohol and drug problems. How do we reach out in order to assist people?
Bruce Lehrmann's been given the all clear by the federal court to sue a number of media outlets for defamation. Mr Lehrmann faced a criminal trial last year accused of the sexual assault of a former Liberal staffer Brittany Higgins. However, it was abandoned due to juror misconduct. He denied the allegations and there were no findings against him. There's usually a 12-month time limit when launching defamation cases, but an extension has been granted, with a trial scheduled for November. More than 100 Australians have now been evacuated from Sudan as the conflict in the region continues. Our allies have helped get people to safety during a 72-hour ceasefire. And US TV talk show king Jerry Springer's died after a brief illness, aged 79.
After this, there is no turning back. You sip the red can, the story ends. You sip the black can, you enter dreamland. And I show you just how good the truth can taste. Take the Pepsi Max Taste Challenge.
Bulldogs captain Marcus Bontempelli will play game number 200 tomorrow when Luke Beveridge's men host the Hawks at Marvel, and Bevo has this interesting way of summing up Bond's stellar career so far.
Just that spicy blend of Irish and Italian heritage. In some ways there's a leprechaun in him as well, because he's pretty magic what he can do.
Tonight St Kilda hosts Port Adelaide at Marvel. Port heads into the clash without skipper Tom Jonas, who's been suspended, while Saints star Mason Wood notches up his 100th match.
Selling the family home? Miller, Wan and John put you first.
This is SAFM weather.
16 and a high chance of showers for the rest of the day across the Limestone coast. Tomorrow, much the same, top of 16 and 18 on Sunday. The Science Briefing podcast is your go-to for the latest research in tech, health, AI, space and more. New episodes weekly on the LISTNR app.
Prepare to explore. Get out of the city and into an adventure that moves the whole family. Prepare to be moved. The all-new Nissan X-Trail.
A LISTNR production.
Good morning, it's Katie Martin with your Limestone Coast local news. Weather first will nudge 20 degrees today, but rain's expected to pick up in the afternoon. The City of Mount Gambier's draft budget is now out for comment. The attention on a proposed rate rise. Council CEO Sarah Philpotts outlined the proposed changes.
We are looking at an increase in our rates. Council has in the draft an increase of 6.2%. Now that's of rate revenue, so that is how much rate income council needs.
You can have your say on the draft budget through Council's website. A group of doctors, experts and telehealth professionals have joined together, calling on the federal government to strengthen its crackdown on black market vaping products. It comes ahead of new laws that will mean only adults will be able to obtain nicotine vaping products through a prescription for the purposes of quitting smoking. However, Dr. Carolyn Beaumont from the Quit Collective says more needs to be done to help smokers in regional areas to quit.
Medically prescribed vaping is even more crucial in regional and rural areas, but there are major barriers to both accessing a prescription and accessing the product. Therefore, online prescription services could provide a reasonable way to access a script. For especially remote communities, delivery could even be to a nearby centre, such as a grocery store.
2 Millicent men are set to appear in court after allegedly cutting down a red gum tree. Operation Red Gum is cracking down on illegal tree thefts. You're not allowed to cut down trees from forests. Authorities say they found an abandoned vehicle, trailer and chainsaws next to a cut-down 4-metre-wide tree on Monday morning. The 2 men have been reported for theft and interfering with native habitat. Changes on the cards for Mount Gambier, a string of major projects spanning hospitality, education and housing, all in the works for the town. A new sushi restaurant and brewery are among the latest new spaces for the growing region. Open in the wake of news last week, the vacant Bunnings site would finally be filled by Mitre 10. Work and spending is already underway on student housing, and separately there's a $50 million housing development planned for 2028. East of the border now, and the duck hunting season has come to a close for what many Victorians hope to be the last time. But Field and Game Australia Chair Danny Ryan maintains that's an unlikely possibility.
I don't think it'll be the last duck hunting season. We've ticked off the select committee hearing process. We've seen submissions that have been open and now closed. We've seen a lot of valuable information be disseminated through to the select committee last Friday. There'll be further hearings as we go on.
And Mount Gambier Library will play host to a special guest tonight to mark Reconciliation Week. Uncle Ken will be sharing stories from his past and hosting a Q&A session. Christy Brooks from the library says it's an event you shouldn't miss.
Uncle Ken is a very proud local Bowendick elder, and so the community will have a really unique opportunity. We're going to be sitting out there on the stage. We're just going to be having a bit of a chat.
It all starts at 6:30.
After this, there is no turning back. You sip the red can, the story ends. You sip the black can, you enter dreamland. And I show you just how good the truth can taste. Take the Pepsi Max Taste Challenge.
Joy among the region's youngest footy stars when they got to play on Adelaide Oval during the Auskick halftime recently. Kids from all mid-southeast teams took part.
BP Plus. Do business the clever way. Visit bpplus.com.au to find out more.
On air, online, and on your smart speaker.
Birdie Blue, stocking popular naked plus back range.
Hi, it's Flake here with the latest. There's major changes coming into effect affecting people's pay packets across the country from tomorrow. The minimum wage will jump to over $23 an hour. Aged care workers on the award are welcoming a 15% pay increase. Super's going up with the guarantee to hit 11%, and paid parental leave's been expanded to 20 weeks. PM Anthony Albanese says millions will benefit.
Whether you're an individual, a family, or a small business, we understand the cost of living pressures which are there. But in addition to that, what we're doing is having measures that take pressure off cost of living whilst not putting pressure on inflation.
It's not all good news. Changes to energy tariffs are set to see electricity prices rise in some instances by close to 25% for those in some of the eastern states. There's been flight disruptions aplenty today, more than a dozen. At Brisbane Airport have been cancelled due to an air traffic controller shortage. Delays are easing at Sydney Airport after multiple cancellations due to gusty winds earlier today, affecting airports across the country. The ACCC's given the conditional okay for the big supermarkets to keep collaborating on a soft plastics recycling plan. Coles, Woolies and Aldi have been working on a blueprint to manage the current stockpile and resume in-store collections after RedCycle suspended its operations. Briefly, the majority of Taylor Swift's general sale tickets for her Australian shows have been exhausted after going on sale today, and the ABS has revealed close to 10% of those employed across the country have either changed employer or businesses over 12 months.
After this, there is no turning back. You sip the red can, the story ends. You sip the black can, you enter dreamland. And I show you just how good the truth can taste. Take the Pepsi Max Taste Challenge.
Alistair Clarkson will make his return to North Melbourne next week, with the club to ease him back in before he steps back into senior coaching roles, with Brett Radden continuing as caretaker for now. And England returns to the crease on 4 for 278 on day 3 of the second Ashes Test, trailing Australia by 138 runs. Meantime, former Aussie vice-captain Brad Haddin has weighed in on listeners' Willow Talk about the impact of the calf injury suffered by Nathan Lyon.
Yeah, it's a huge blow, because I think Nathan Lyon is the most important bowler in the Australian attack.
Selling the family home, Miller, Juan and John put you first.
This is SAFM weather.
A very high chance of showers this afternoon across the Limestone coast, a low of 8 degrees tonight. More rain tomorrow, a top of 14. For the best sporting podcasts from Australia and around the world, lift a game with LISTNR. Download the app now and search sport to listen.
Get out of the city and into an adventure that moves the whole family. Prepare to be moved. The all-new Nissan X-Trail.
On air, online, and on your smart speaker.
Dirty Blue, Stocking Thrills, Barney Cools, Nude Lucy, and a Pally, Lioness.
SAFM News Briefing.
Hi there, I'm Alicia McFarland. The opposition leader says it's a tragic day for our nation as a recovery mission is launched to find 4 missing ADF personnel in Queensland waters. They were on board a Taipan helicopter when it went down on Friday. Peter Dutton says Parliament is standing together to provide support.
We come together today on an incredibly sad occasion, a tragic occasion for our nation, and we stand in one of the support of those men and women who bravely wear the uniform of the Australian Defence Force.
The Nationals leader is calling for calm after a small number of cattle sent to Indonesia tested positive for lumpy skin disease. Exports from 4 yards in Northern Australia have been suspended, with testing now underway. David Littleproud says the cattle had been in Indonesia for a number of days.
I'm very confident in our science, I'm very confident in our biosecurity measures, that they will stand the test of time in this one, and that we'll be able to resume trade out of those 4 facilities in the coming weeks.
An intensive 3-day search for missing Belgian tourist Celine Creamer in Tasmania's northwest has provided no new leads. The 31-year-old disappeared mid-June. Experts are split on whether interest rates will increase tomorrow. Some believe the Reserve Bank will leave the official figure on hold at 4.1% on the back of better than expected inflation numbers. 2 in 3 Australians have cancelled or postponed their holiday plans in the last 3 months. That's according to NAB, which is putting it down.
After this, there is no turning back. You sip the red can, the story ends. You sip the black can, you enter dreamland. And I show you just how good the truth can taste. Take the Pepsi Max Taste Challenge.
To sport, Lance Franklin has announced his immediate retirement from the AFL after 19 seasons. Swan CEO Tom Hartley says he's a champion of the game.
Probably the player of his generation that's transcended the game and had such a strong positive impact on the community. He'll be enormously missed.
And Port Adelaide has been issued a please explain from the AFL over the concussion protocol management of Alicia, who had no HIA after a nasty collision with teammate Lockie Jones at the weekend.
Selling the family home, Miller, Juan and John put you first.
This is SAFM weather.
Showers and 15 for the rest of the day across the Limestone coast, similar tomorrow, top of 16, and partly cloudy on Wednesday. From car trips to meal times to bedtime, LISTNR offers audio entertainment kids love. Download the LISTNR app now and listen for free.
Get out of the city and into an adventure that moves the whole family. Prepare to be moved. The all-new Nissan X-Trail.
A LISTNR production.
A yarning circle on its way to our patch and big news in local basketball. Good morning, it's Amy Ross with a Limestone Coast local news update. Cloudy with some showers on the way for the region. We're heading for a top of 15 in Mount Gambier and 16 in Naracoorte. A yarning circle is set to be built at the Mount Gambier Police Station. Approved by Bowen Dick Elders, the culturally significant project sees Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander youth from Grant and the Blue Lake City work alongside SAPOL and local businesses to build the space. The site will be located on the lawn outside the station and will be a welcoming and culturally inclusive place for Indigenous and non-Indigenous police and community to come together and connect. Construction begins this Friday with the first meeting penciled in for August 25. If you live on the Limestone Coast and you have a disability, make sure you head to Mount Gambier on Tuesday, August 8. The Free Connecting Expo is on at the Wollunda Rec Centre to give people with a disability a safe space to get together and share ideas and experiences. Organiser Kate McDonough says there'll be a lot to see and do.
Our Voice of Say have put together a music bingo at 11 o'clock and at 1 o'clock. There's an opening ceremony at 10 o'clock and there's a sale art exhibition as well. Putting it all together as we speak.
A local sinkhole in the Blue Lake City has been undergoing a facelift. Landscaping and facility upgrades are underway up the Umfirston sinkhole Balumbu. The next steps council is looking to take is to do a safety assessment of the stairs to work out accessibility to the site. We still need donors. That's the plea from the Red Cross to help an Adelaide mum who needs life-saving heart surgery. 3 donors have been found so far from South Australia, Victoria and Queensland, and Lifeblood's Dr. James Daly says Amira has a rare blood type.
Anyone with the group A positive, A negative, O positive or O negative may be a match for Amira.
Meantime, Mount Gambier has been described as one of the most generous donation spots in the state. So much so, Lifeblood is setting up another pop-up clinic this week at the Bowls Club. But the organisation's Emily Granland says there's no plans yet to make it permanent.
Our donor centres are based in areas, where the population can support them. So at the moment, the pop-up donor centre is the best option for Mount Gambier.
And the Weather Bureau has issued a strong wind warning for the lower southeast. Today in Roe, we're expecting winds of up to 35 k's an hour.
After this, there is no turning back. You sip the red can, the story ends. You sip the black can, you enter dreamland. And I show you just how good the truth can taste. Take the Pepsi Max Taste Challenge.
Finals are back in the sights of the Pioneer women following a semi-final win at the weekend. It was a close one on Friday night at Wollunda, but the Pioneers were just too good for the Hawks, beating them 74-72. Mila Goodchild was a standout for the side, shooting 27 points and getting 7 rebounds. The side next week will hit the road to take on the Braves in Bendigo. And in Western Border footy, East Gambier nearly got a massive upset over West, with the bottom of the table drawing with second place, the final score 69 each.
BP Plus. Do business the clever way. Visit bpplus.com.au to find out more.
On air, online and on your smart speaker.
Dirty Blue, handcrafted Alana Marie, available in store and online. Hi there, I'm Alicia McFarland. A bumpy ride ahead for Qantas, with the airline facing legal action, accused of selling tickets for 8,000 flights which had already been cancelled. ACCC Chair Gina Cass-Gottlieb says they're alleging the Flying Kangaroo engaged in false, misleading conduct.
These allegations are about what they did after they had decided to cancel a flight, and that having made the decision that they continued to sell tickets.
Meantime, Qantas has responded to backlash and scrapped expiry dates on its COVID travel credits, which were due to run out this year. In South Africa, at least 63 people have died after a fire engulfed what's believed to be an abandoned building occupied by homeless people. A 2-year-old is among the casualties in Johannesburg, while dozens of others are injured. The Prime Minister is touring Tasmania today, dismissing talk of disunity when it comes to the Indigenous voice. Anthony Albanese is confident the referendum will get up on October 14.
Every Premier and Chief Minister is supporting a yes vote, as well as all of the faith groups, all of the sporting codes, the business community, the trade union movement.
While Opposition Leader Peter Dutton is in Queensland questioning the cost of the referendum.
It's going to cost $500 million to run this election campaign. I think that money would be better off being spent helping families with their electricity bills.
Great news for those working in the gig economy. The federal government has announced plans for industry minimum standards, with a bill to be introduced in Parliament next week.
After this, there is no turning back. You sip the red can, the story ends. You sip the black can, you enter dreamland. And I show you just how good the truth can taste. Take the Pepsi Max Taste Challenge.
To sport, Darcy Parish says he's excited to be a Bomber for life after signing a 5-year extension. The midfielder was set to be an in-demand free agent at year's end, but has ended the contract stalemate to stay at Essendon. St Kilda's Seb Ross and Josh Battle are on track to return from injury in time for next Saturday's elimination final against the Giants. And in cricket, Tim David has been added to the Aussie one-day side ahead of the South African tour. It follows the batsman's 64 from 28 bowls in Australia's T20 win over the Proteas this morning.
Selling the family home? Miller, Juan and John put you first.
This is SAFM weather.
The rest of Thursday across the Limestone coast, staying cloudy down to a low of 7 degrees tonight, and tomorrow a shower or two and a top of 15 degrees to kick off spring. And find the perfect music station to suit all your moods on LISTNR. Download the LISTNR app now and search Mood.
Production.
It's official, a teacher strike all but guaranteed to hit the southeast on Friday. Southern Coast Ocean Care responds to the state government's opposition to the proposed offshore wind farm and voice campaigns to get underway in South Australia following yesterday's referendum announcement. Good morning, it's Andrew Shaw with your Limestone Coast local news. Weather today across the region, showers easing for the southeast. We're heading for a top of 15 degrees today, a shower or two and 15 tomorrow, then cloudy and 18 degrees on Saturday. Well, bad news for parents and students alike across the Limestone coast. It seems public school teachers are all but guaranteed to strike tomorrow. A number of southeastern schools are expected to shut, including Narracourt High School, Mount Gambier High School and Millicent High School. It follows another round of talks which didn't come to a resolution yesterday, and Education Minister Blair Boyer says don't count on any last-minute breakthroughs today either.
Is it possible that strike action is called off? Yes. Is it likely? No, would be my advice. I'm very much planning for it to go ahead.
On 7 there. Following the state government's announcement it's opposing a proposed offshore wind farm, it appears campaigners are feeling more optimistic there won't be any developments to the south of Port MacDonnell. Susie Fulham from the Southern Coast Ocean Care Group says it's a step closer to their main goal.
Which is, to get federal government to not declare offshore wind off Port MacDonnell. Just felt like we were just that little bit closer, having the state government announce their support.
The state government in its Commonwealth submission has said there's a risk to fisheries and the environment during construction. Submissions for the federal inquiry closed today. There will be 6 weeks of campaigning, with the Indigenous Voice referendum to be held on October 14. The date was confirmed yesterday as the AFL's Social Inclusion Manager Tanya Hosh says it's time for constitutional recognition.
Time to listen to the voices of communities on the problems they face and the solutions they need. Time to build a better future for all Australians.
South Australia is expected to be a key battleground over the voice when the referendum gets underway. As we reported yesterday, a community forum will be held in Mount Gambier next week at Sir Robert Helpman Theatre, hosted by Burundi's Aboriginal Corporation, AC Care and SACOS. They hope to share information about the voice with the South East community, with an overview of the Uluru Statement and the referendum process. And potential bad news if you are hoping to keep cool this summer. The Advertiser reports this morning that SA is facing an increased risk of blackouts this summer, reportedly due to a supply shortage of renewable energy. The Australian Energy Market Operator says urgent action needs to be taken to try and safeguard the system. Across the border, Victoria is also facing similar warnings of possible supply issues this summer.
After this, there is no turning back. You sip the red can, the story ends. You sip the black can, you enter dreamland. And I show you just how good the truth can taste. Take the Pepsi Max Taste Challenge.
Let's take a look at some sport now, and a big honour for Kingston boy Jordan Dawson in his first year as Adelaide Crows skipper, earning a place in the All-Australian squad at last night's AFL Awards ceremony. The South East product's been placed in the interchange bench of the final team, while his predecessor Taylor Walker has been named at half forward. Dawson also had a standout season this year, averaging 27 disposals, while going more than 30 in 8 games throughout the year. And just quickly, Wallander's being prepared for tomorrow night's blockbuster clash between the Adelaide 36ers and South East Melbourne Phoenix. It's a pre-season clash ahead of main play this NBL season, with play getting underway from 7 p.m. tomorrow evening.
Prepare to transform. Whatever life you choose, prepare to be moved in the all-new Nissan Qashqai.
On air, online, and on your smart speaker.
Stocked up for spring, Verdi Blue has your next pair of Birkenstock.
SAFM News Briefing.
Hi, it's Dan Flake here with the latest. Work continues to fix a service outage affecting ANZ customers. The lender confirming there's been issues affecting their apps, internet banking, ATMs, credit and debit card transactions and more. The Disability Royal Commission's made 222 recommendations. A Commonwealth task force has been launched today to address the findings, which call for sweeping changes. NDIS Minister Bill Shorten says the government can and will take action.
I do see this as a moment of national unity. I do see this as a moment where we can paint the horizon for people with disability in Australia.
Grand final fevers swept the country. Hordes of AFL fans have turned out for the traditional parade in Melbourne today, ahead of tomorrow's decider between Collingwood and Brisbane. PM Anthony Albanese will be among those on hand at the MCG. He's got one wish leading into the grand final.
I just hope it's a great game. Too many grand finals in recent years have been blowouts.
While Sunday's NRL decider between Brisbane and Penrith and the NRLW grand final between the Knights and Titans could be the hottest rugby league League deciders on record, with the mercury tipped to reach between 35 to 36 degrees in Sydney. Also today, Defence is retiring their MRH-90 Taipan choppers early after several serious incidents involving the aircraft. Tasmania's Attorney General stepped down as an independent investigation plays out amid bullying allegations. And we're in for another rate pause from the Reserve Bank next month, according to Finder. All of its experts reckon no movement of the cash rate in October.
After this, there is no turning back. You sip the red can, the story ends. You sip the black can, you enter dreamland. And I show you just how good the truth can taste. Take the Pepsi Max Taste Challenge.
The Lions coach admits it's pretty surreal to be heading to the AFL Grand Final. Chris Flake says tomorrow's decider's been years in the making.
We've been sort of close to getting to the big dance a few times, but not close enough. So to get there is just a tremendous reward for everybody at the footy club.
While Pies coach Craig McRae is confident they have the firepower to take out the decider despite low scores so far these finals.
Yeah, we're confident in our defence. We're going to kick 9 or 10 goals each game, but we keep the opposition to less than that. Yeah, we defend the ground really well.
Thousands have turned out for today's AFL Grand Final parade in Melbourne.
Selling the family home? Miller, Juan and John put you first.
This is SAFM weather.
Sunny on the Limestone coast, down to 10 degrees tonight. Tomorrow, partly cloudy and 29. Sunday, just 18. LISTNR is the home of true crime podcasts, featuring only the best binge-worthy crime stories all in one place. Download the LISTNR app now and listen for free.
Get out of the city and into an adventure that moves the whole family. Prepare to be moved. The all-new Nissan X-Trail.
On air, online and on your smart speaker.
Pandura Jewellery, available exclusively in Mount Gambier at Henry Post Jewellers.
SAFM News Briefing.
Hello, I'm Alicia McFarland. Nearly 10 emergency warnings are currently in place across the eastern states as fire crews battle dozens of out-of-control bushfires. 6 blazes in New South Wales are currently at emergency level, mostly in the state's north, while there's 3 in Queensland south, where more than 50 homes have already been destroyed. There's been a fatal shark attack off South Australia this morning. Police have confirmed they're searching waters near Streaky Bay for the body of a 55-year-old man. The US president has signed an executive order to limit the risk of artificial intelligence. Regulations are being introduced for developers to help protect consumers, including watermarks and clear labels. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says our government is also working through issues surrounding AI, with privacy and the protection of people's rights a focus.
Making sure that artificial intelligence works for people and that human content is not removed.
It's hoped a new $10 million national advertising campaign will encourage more people to become teachers. Education Minister Jason Clare says the teacher shortage is being felt right across the country.
Go to any school and you'll find children in the playground, children in rec rooms, because there isn't a teacher there. Over the course of the last 10 years, we've seen a 12% drop in the number of young people becoming teachers, enrolling in the university course.
And the ABS has revealed close to 30% of the Australian population were born overseas.
After this, there is no turning back. You sip the red can, the story ends. You sip the black can, you enter dreamland. And I show you just how good the truth can taste. Pepsi Max Taste Challenge.
Sport, Australia is not bidding for the hosting rights of the 2034 FIFA Men's World Cup. The move paves the way for Saudi Arabia to be the likely host of the tournament. And it's been revealed Carlton conducted a comprehensive 3-week evaluation of recruit Elijah Hollins after he was charged with cocaine possession. Psychologists, coaches, administrators, the club board, an integrity consultant and his parents were consulted. He escaped conviction after pleading guilty to possessing the drug found in his wallet at a casino.
Selling the family home? Miller, Juan and John put you first.
This is SAFM weather.
Cloudy on the Limestone coast, falling to 6 degrees tonight. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with a top of 19 degrees. Tune in to Maggie Dent's new podcast for the Dad's Guide to Nailing It. Download the LISTNR app and search The Good Enough Dad to listen.
Get out of the city and into an adventure that moves the whole family. Prepare to be moved. The all-new Nissan X-Trail.
A LISTNR production.
G'day, Tom Parry with you. A potential trade deal between Australia and the European Union has once again fallen through. Federal Trade Minister and South Australian Senator Don Farrell says the EU's current offer is still not good enough. It was hoped the deal would reduce tariffs on the agricultural sector. But the lack of a deal is good news for some produce sellers. Europe's hardline restrictions mean that products such as feta, parmesan and prosciutto can only be named as such if they originate from the continent. Almost half of South Australians are considering buying an electric vehicle as their next car. That's according to the latest survey from the RAA, and that's not all it revealed.
Nearly 2/3 of them said they'd actually pay a bit more for an EV, between $5,000 and $10,000. So we've got an appetite now for people to start to think about EVs.
RAA spokesperson Mark Borlace there. And as boys and girls get ready to go trick-or-treating tonight across the Limestone coast, safety regulators are encouraging parents to be mindful of the risks that can come with Halloween ornaments, costumes and toys. These include button batteries, dark costumes and wigs that are not visible at night, and face paint or fake blood that may cause an allergic reaction. Meanwhile, SA Pol Senior Sergeant Matt Brown says it's also important to be aware on local roads.
And sometimes it's hard for motorists to see trick-or-treaters clearly, particularly when wearing a costume. Be sure to obey road traffic rules and use proper road crossings if available. Make sure you take extra care and look out for any approaching or reversing cars when walking or flying across driveways on your broomsticks.
After this, there is no turning back. You sip the red can, the story ends. You sip the black can, you enter dreamland. And I show you just how good the truth can taste. Take the Pepsi Max Taste Challenge.
Round 2 of the Millicent and Narracourt Cricket League took place on Saturday. Lucendale were big winners against the Warriors, beating them by a margin of 103 runs. Meanwhile, the Rams are firmly on top of the ladder after recording their second win in a row. They beat the Robe Roosters by 9 wickets.
For all the best deals in car rental, Thrifty Thrills, with over 200 locations across Australia.
Response crews are battling to keep up with more than 1,500 calls for assistance as storms and heavy rain continues to pummel the country's southeast. The Bureau of Meteorology's Keris Arndt says 2 low-pressure systems are driving the relentless weather, causing flash flooding and widespread damage.
Conditions are expected to ease across southeast Australia over the coming days as the low-pressure system that's brought all this moisture to the states continues to weaken and move out into the Tasman Sea.
Israel and Hamas have extended their ceasefire in Gaza for a 7th day, giving hope for a lasting peace deal. The two sides are engaged in negotiations to secure the release of more hostages, a key sticking point in the conflict. Brittany Higgins has admitted in court to giving incorrect evidence during Bruce Lerman's trial. Higgins says she made incorrect claims about the state of her dress, but says she was truthful when she told police she wasn't wearing underwear the night she alleges she was sexually assaulted. Lerman denies the allegations and is suing Network 10 and Lisa Wilkinson for defamation. Australia's climate efforts need urgent acceleration to meet its emissions reduction targets, according to the Climate Change Authority. It's found the country's emissions increased last year, putting it further behind its 2030 goal. Climate Change Minister Chris Bowen telling Parliament we've got to do better.
Whilst I'm pleased with our progress, I'm not yet satisfied. The job is far from done.
Briefly, former US Secretary of State Henry Kissinger has died, age 100.
How does your super size up? Visit mlc.com.au.
After this, there is no turning back. You sip the red can, the story ends. You sip the black can, you enter dreamland. And I show you just how good the truth can taste. Max Taste Challenge.
To sport, Cameron Davis has made a bold statement at the Australian Open today, seizing the early lead after a scorching 9 under 63 in the opening round. And with Cam Bancroft and Marcus Harris both falling under 10 runs in today's Shield clash against Queensland, a former Aussie vice-captain believes it's time for a shake-up once David Warner retires in January. Brad Haddon telling listeners Willow Talk podcast Marnus Labuschagne should open the batting so Mitch Marsh and Cam Green can play.
I think if Marnus goes to the top of the order, let's see how it goes for this summer.
Selling the family home? Miller, Juan and John put you first.
This is SAFM weather.
Today on the Limestone coast, mostly sunny with a low of 13 and a top of 22. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy with a low of 11 and a high of 21. Tune into the briefing podcast on LISTNR to lift the lid on important issues that matter to you. Download the LISTNR app now and search the briefing.
Production.
G'day, Tom Parry with you. Men living in regional areas, like the Limestone coast, are at greater risk of experiencing a mental illness compared to their city counterparts. As Movember wraps up this week, the focus is on men's mental health and the barriers present when accessing support. Charles Sturt Uni Associate Professor Jean Hodgins says there are growing efforts in regional areas to help those in need.
Certainly when it comes to perhaps young men and older men and perhaps farmers in regional and rural areas, there's still a bit of a stigma around about having a mental health issue of showing weakness. And certainly that's coming down. There's lots of really good initiatives happening in rural mental health for men, particularly in relation to like football clubs and farming associations.
A new careers booklet from 141 is hoping to get young people excited about joining their ranks. Green Triangle Forests General Manager Dion Creek says it outlines the ways they can support someone entering the forestry industry.
We're passionate about creating a diverse workforce, and with an ageing workforce, we need more young people to join the industry and make this happen, not just at 141, but industry-wide.
Briefly, new figures show that prices for tradies in South Australia have risen 18% in the past year, and the planned upgrades of Mount Gambier's sale yards have moved forward to Stage 2 of the Growing Regions program. It puts the District Council of Grant a step closer to obtaining federal funding for the project. Mayor Kylie Boston says the site means a lot to the local community.
Had over 700 cattle out there today, and it's a fantastic sight to see the buzz out there as livestock are getting sold.
After this, there is no turning back. You sip the red can, the story ends. You sip the black can, you enter dreamland. And I show you just how good the truth can taste. Take the Pepsi Max Taste Challenge.
The Mount Gambier Lakers men are on the road this weekend for round 9 of the Country Basketball League. They'll be facing the Ararat Redbacks, who are currently second last on the Southwest Conference ladder, while the Lakers are second from the top. Millicent Magic are sitting out this weekend's action. They have a bye round.
Get your business retail ready for the end-of-year sales at Snap. Visit your local Snap Print Solutions Centre or via our website at snap.com.au today.
1979. What a year. Since then, a lot of things have changed, but one thing's remained true. The great UltraTune promise to offer a logbook service by our highly qualified mechanics. UltraTune. Over 270 locally owned centres servicing Australia since 1979.
On air, online, and on your smart speaker.
Henry Post Jewellers has an exclusive range of Argyle diamond jewellery in-store or online.
SAFM News Briefing.
Hey, it's Rosie O'Brien. A nail-biting finish in the Sydney to Hobart yacht race with Law Connect securing line honours by just 51 seconds. It's one of the tightest ever finishes, and owner and skipper Christian Beck says everyone was full of nerves.
I can't believe that result. It's a dream come true. I never thought it was possible, actually.
Social media platform TikTok may be formally investigated. Australia's Privacy Commissioner has launched an inquiry to see whether it's needed or not after revelations the app is using info from its tool Pixel, which collects data without users' consent. A Sydney man, his wife and brother killed in an Israeli airstrike in Lebanon, have been farewelled at a funeral. It's understood Ibrahim Bazi had travelled to the town of Binjabel to help his wife move to Australia when the attack was carried out. The Department of Foreign Affairs is investigating. Efforts are continuing to retrieve packages of suspected cocaine after barrels washed up on Australia's east coast. 124 kilograms is estimated to have reached beaches between Sydney and Newcastle. When it comes to popular pollies, Penny Wong has been voted our most impressive leader. Aussies giving her a net likeability of 14% when many others, like Scott Morrison, received negative results. Jackie Lambie came in second spot, and Senator Bridget McKenzie says it shows women are trusted.
Senator Nampijinpa Price, who was so key in the Voice referendum, is also in the top 5, and it is because, I think, all of the men and women in that category say what they think and are...
How does your super size up? Visit mlc.com.au/supersizer to take a super check and to find out important information about MLC.
Buying or selling rural or residential properties? Miller, Wan and John. This is SAFM weather.
Today on the Limestone coast, mostly cloudy with a low of 13 and a top of 23. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a low of 10 and a high of 21. Find the perfect music station to suit all your moods on LISTNR. Download the free app now and search music.